goes?
My heart is like pounding out of my chest. I can't breathe.
Is there a doctor in the house?
Dr. Stephanie.
Teddy bear doctors don't count.
CPR.
So my question was, what was your favorite Christmas movie? I can't talk, oh my God. What was your favorite Christmas movie as a kid?
As a kid, it was Home Alone.
As a kid, it was Die Hard.
Look at that, you did great.
Thank you.
Thanks a bunch. Thanks for your question.
This question is for Jared. I believe it was in season 2, and I believe you were filming in a cemetery. And as you were leaving, you said, I think she broke my hand, and the next episode you were wearing a cast. So I was wondering how you broke your hand while you were filming that episode.
So I actually broke my hand in episode 2. There was a scene where I get hit on the back of the head with a telephone, and I walk into a motel room, and I walk this way, and I sense something behind me, and so I turn, and there's a vampire, and I punch the vampire, but another one has come up behind me with a I'm leaking, with a telephone, and smacks me on the back of the head. And so I'm shedding. So as I fell, they're holding the camera there, and I fell, and I acted like I was passed out. The last second, I kind of put my hand out to the side to catch myself, in order to, it was August 14th, in order to, it was my friend's birthday. And so to catch myself, because the stuntman who I just knocked out, supposed to knock down, was there in front of me, so I put my hand out to catch myself, but the angle was incorrect, and so I snapped my wrist bone, and I got up, and Bob Singer was directing. I think it was episode 2, it could have been episode 3. Bloodlust? It was one of the vampire episodes in season 2. Anyways, I'm kind of like, oh man. And for whatever reason, we went one more time. This time I didn't fall on my hand, and we cut. It was the last shot of the day. And my hand was just hurting. Like it kind of hurt to make a fist, hurt to wash my hands. And so a couple days later, I was like, my hand is still hurting, man. Like I think it's bruised. Anyways, I went and got it x-rayed, and it was broken. My wrist was broken. But we'd already started shooting the episode. Actually, the scene in the cemetery where my pants ripped, it was already broken because I'd gotten an x-ray, but they couldn't put the cast on during that episode, so we had to wait until the following episode to get surgery on it. I still have some cool scars. But yeah, so I guess that entire episode, my hand is broken, my wrist. I want to go back and watch now and see. You can see, as a matter of fact, there's a scene where we get into the Impala, and he's in the driver's seat, and I get in, and I reach across with my left hand to close the door, as opposed to just doing this. It's because my hand was hurting so badly. So yeah, fun fact, fun behind the scenes. Will you just sit down? I'm not going to break anything again yet.
You're making me nervous, man.
Good. Thank you for your question.
Okay, so my friends and I sometimes send each other like reaction memes of you guys and of Misha, and
I do that all the time to all of my friends, and it pisses them off so much. It's not fair! I don't have memes of myself on my phone that I can send. Often it's the black and white one of this. I wish we got residuals for that, because anyway, sorry.
and then, so I was wondering if you had like a favorite meme.
See, it's my psychic character. That's what I would ask my psychic character. Yes, yes. There's that one. The black.
This is mine. And now you know why.
I don't know how you and your friends are to each other on texts, my friends and I are very mean to each other. And so I also will often use, if I don't use the shocked, like what did you just say to me? I'll use Sam like crying profusely in the Heart episode, or Dean also crying, so it's just like, oh, you hurt my feelings, and it's some epic cry face. And there's another one that's really creepy, and it's of me kind of doing like a white, I think it was Soulless Sam in a white button-down shirt, and it kind of makes my skin crawl a little bit. And so I pass it along. I send it to Jen a lot. She doesn't like it. But yeah, those are the ones that I send. Mr. Eccles?
So I have this text thread that has been going for over 5 years with 5 of my friends that I've known. Some I've known since I was 12 years old. Jason Vance is one of them. And we all had our first child within a year of each other. So every Friday, we call it Father Friday, we put a picture of our kid or kids now. And
they multiply?
Well, yeah, they have. Because I think we all now have multiple children. But we will text a picture of our kids to these 5 other friends of ours. And we call it, Father Friday. On that text thread, there's other conversations that happen as well. And I have used myself to meme several conversations. And one time I did, it was a meme of Ryan Reynolds going like this. And I sent that, and then immediately they were like, oh wow, I'm really shocked that you didn't find one of yourself to send. That's awesome. Look guys, he's growing up. And immediately I sent me going like this. And it was so perfect. I'm still proud of that today.
You should be.
I am.
What are your favorite supernatural memes to send?
What was that?
Basically, same question. Do you send any supernatural memes to your friends?
It is hard to hear over there.
Oh,
It's like, no, I thought this was a Gotham convention. I don't...
It's Jensen mostly.
Which one?
I have like a whole folder.
Oh, good.
you can do a meme folder?
There's like a lot of you and Jared and Misha, a lot of Misha. You just make
She's basically saying you need to be more expressive and make stupid faces.
Sam is not expressive.
Like this one.
Awesome.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Glad we could help you with your meme game.
One of the themes of the show that we try to exemplify on a regular basis is really thinking hard before we answer a question.
It's so stupid.
I
got one. It's never quitting.
Even when we should quit acting like
As exemplified with 14 seasons.
Thank God.
Oh, I was wondering if there's any recent parenting fails where we were like, oh shit, like, can't believe that just happened.
Yeah, this wasn't really, I guess we can call this a fail. Jen and I, we wanted to kind of make the house festive, and the boys were begging. We travel so much, the boys were like, can we stay in Austin for Christmas? Like, of course. You know what, let's try and make it a cool festive, and we like lights, and we decided to put some trees in the boys' rooms. Little small trees, but like have them, they both did ornaments at their schools, and it's like, cool, this will be a neat, and then before Christmas we'll all get together and put up a big tree downstairs. This is an accidental fail. So, Shep, who I call Drunk Jared. He'll be 5 in a week, but he's a pretty curious little kid, and I guess they were kind of misbehaving a little bit, so Genevieve was like, Tom, Shep, go to your rooms. You just both need to kind of take some time, so go to your rooms, read a book, whatever. And about 15 minutes later, Tom starts yelling, Mom, Mom! And so Jen kind of goes up, and she's like, yes. And they've all been sick, and Tom goes, Shep, he figured out a way to make the lights shock him. Shep had to unplug the lights and unscrewed them, and then plugged it back in and touched the part. Yeah. Funny, but not funny. And so Jen calls me, and it's another one of these moments where Jen calls, and I'm like, hey! And I see her face like, hey. She's like, I need you to talk to Shep. I was like, what's going on? She's like, well, he almost tried to kill himself in front of the house now. Okay, well, tell me some more info so I know what's going on. So Shep gets on FaceTime. I'm like, hey buddy, what happened? Like, the lights got unplugged. Okay, what else happened? And Jen's like, you're not gonna get in trouble, just tell your dad. He's like, well, I turned them in a circle. Like, you turn the lights in a circle? He's like, yeah, and then they came off. And when you touch it, it makes you feel funny. So, yeah, it's sort of an accidental fail, but you gotta be on your toes with these little guys. When our debt gets bigger.
Trust me, you'll be fine. I was recently one of the parents chaperoning a field trip for my daughter's kindergarten class. And I was the only dad. Which was fine, because I think there was like 4 moms, and then me, and the teachers. And so I was basically just a pack mule. Like, they'd load me up at the cooler and all the snacks and the backpacks and the jackets, and I'm just, which is fine. But at a certain point, they were like doing some like arts and crafts or something. This was out at a farm. And I noticed that, JJ was trying to get to the front where she could hear the counselor lady explain what was going to happen, and one of the little boys shoved her, because she kind of came up next to him, and he just turns and goes, boom! And then she turns around and like shoves him back, and nobody sees this but me, and shoves him back, and then he's like about to, it's about to escalate, and so I just kind of grab his arm and I just kind of move him over here. I wanted to do more. And I diffused it very quickly before anybody really even saw it. And then because I did that, he kind of got upset and went over to his mom, who happened to be there as well. Didn't say anything, was just like upset. And Mom was like, what's wrong, what's wrong? And he was just like, no. So I was like, a little punk. And that wasn't necessarily the fail. The fail came later when we were going over to the goat pen, and these goats had horns. And it said very clearly on the gate to stay back from the fence because the horns can get through and can get you. So I walked a few of them over there to supervise, and here comes little buddy. Why don't you go see if one can come over to you? And one started to kind of motor over to him, and he was right against the fence, and I was literally just holding the other like 4 kids back. And I'm like, shh. Just let it happen. I will say though that before the goat got too close, I reached over and I grabbed the back of his collar. I grabbed the back of his collar, pulled him back, and I was like, no, let's go, come on back. But it was an attempted fail. I gotta be careful. I gotta curb that because I know I'm gonna be put in that situation a lot with 3 kids.
So this is the way he pulled the kid back. Right as the goat was getting close, he's like, all right. I was saving him. I had to save him from the goat. The goat was gonna get him. Back up, kid, back up. Yeah. Hey. That's good parenting.
Anyway, I think that's good parenting.
Well, I had a moment at the trailers, at the food trailers. I never took a nice story. Okay, I'll tell that another time. I don't remember. Thank you so much.
Thank y'all.
One that I don't like. I like the end result when it's on, when you see it on the episode, but filming it's so weird, and that is beheading a vampire. Because this is what it looks like. If I'm the vampire, and Sam, for this reenactment, he'll play the part of Sam.
Don't touch me, Dave.
I'm like, either your hair is on your chin, or that's the longest whisker I've ever seen in my life.
I'm saving it.
So, I would be the bad guy. He would step in with machete and stop. I would step out. Jared would overlap that action and try to swing through the exact spot. Now that's kind of difficult.
Because it's also, the blade is, you have to get at the exact
The
same
angle of the
trajectory.
blade, yeah.
So if this is the way you were, and that, and then we're...
Yeah, so then I'd step in again, line up, let him line up, and then I would step out and let him take a free swing. Then I would step in, he would step out. I would try to line up my neck, because they'd have a freeze frame, right where the blade hit, and then I would collapse.
And then
the third part, this is the stupidest part, a fake head.
matching the vampire's head.
An actual like dummy head
So in comes
is
the
then held by generally Robin, our props on-set props department.
To match the exact
And then
place
she
where it
would
was,
she would
the
try to
angle of the nose,
angle of the nose and tilt of the head, and then they would say 3, 2, 1 action, and this is literally what happens to the head.
And it's a pretty drawn out process. Like that just took 60 seconds, but it takes 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
It takes quite a while.
It always looks great, but
Yeah,
they're doing it
again,
kind
the
of-
end result is fine, but getting it done is
yeah, especially when they happen in the beginning.
and
of
it's
the
so
fight scene.
anticlimactic. It's like, okay, and pause there, stop, great. One person, you step out, and I'm gonna need you to overlap that action.
That was too low. I need to bend
Angle
down.
it. No, that wasn't. No, that.
Of the skills you've used on the show, like welding, mechanic, picking locks, how many of them do you actually have?
Of the skills we use on the show, how many do we actually use?
Yeah, have actually able to do, like, are you a mechanic? Can you actually pick a lock? That kind of thing.
I can't pick a lock. I can do the credit card thing.
Shoot a gun?
When I can shoot a gun.
I can kick a door in.
I can knock somebody out.
All right.
I can't get hit by a car. I'd like to not test that theory. I can't weld, but I don't weld on the show. I guess I technically have a driver's license.
But you don't drive.
I can read and I can Google some stuff. I mean, I can read real good.
I would say, I'd say our weapons skills are pretty good. They're probably not quite as broad as the Winchesters, but we certainly know how to handle the ones that they give us, and that came with proper training. Other than that, skill. Driving, I can drive that car pretty well. And
I can pretend to be somebody I'm not, which I guess someone pretends to be somebody he's not, so I can do that. Yeah, I guess. Thank you for pointing out. I'm sort of skillless. I'm realizing that I gotta learn some stuff. Thank you for your question.
I can drink like Dean.
And I can eat like Dean. So, what about Jensen Ackles Dean?
I never played him.
You played Jensen Ackles as Dean.
But I played Jensen Ackles playing Dean.
Playing Dean.
I played Dean, played by Jensen Ackles.
Playing Jensen Ackles, playing Dean.
Stop it!
When you really think about it, it was Jensen Ackles playing Dean.
It's not.
Playing Jensen Ackles playing Dean. What were your favorites?
Now that you said that Gary's name, that was hilarious. I totally wasn't even thinking about that one. I was going to go with Soulless Sam.
Yeah.
And for Dean, I would think Demon Dean.
Demon Dean.
He would definitely be, you know, a favorite as well. There's something about the Yellow Fever Dean because he's playing a character who you know, really isn't afraid of much at all. And plays that up, the fact that there's not a lot that you know, frightens him. To then be frightened by everything was such a turn that I just had a lot of fun with it. It was fun to play.
That's my favorite episode, so.
Wow.
That's a funny episode.
Good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was scary. I found myself laughing during the filming of that one quite a bit.
Yeah, you ruined a lot of really perfectly decent takes.
I left one of the scenes.
You did. He walked away, he was laughing so hard.
And
what was the scene? What was this? Oh yeah. Oh, that one. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, the snake's coming over, and I'm like, I'm out of here.
Yeah, I've got a snake the size of a tree trunk crawling across my shoulder, and he's 6 feet away, and then gets up and leaves the scene.
I really did. They had to change the camera angle so you didn't know that I wasn't there. I was like, nope. I think it's the only time I've ever done that. Like, nope, I'm not doing this. See you later.
I just, for some reason, caught a bit of, maybe a blooper or something, I don't know. But it was when we were doing a scene over the top of the Impala, and Phil was directing. And you were laughing so hard on your off camera, and it was an over. And
oh, yeah.
I couldn't get the words out because he was just like crying. He was laughing so hard, but the camera couldn't see him. It would just barely see him.
And you're like,
something like that, yeah. And so I was like, I can't say these words to him because his face is so puckered and it's like leaking. And Phil's like, just keep going! And I'm like, I can't! Are you seeing him? Does he have to be in the scene?
It was at Riverview.
And no, it was at the...
Yellow Fever! It was Yellow Fever!
No.
Yes!
It was in the junkyard. It was Bobby's junkyard.
I don't know. We're both in suits.
It's Bobby's junkyard, 100%. And so I make him turn around, and he does the scene because now this shoulder's on camera, and you're just catching a little piece of him, but you see this. He's vibrating because he's laughing so hard. And the whole crew is laughing too.
It's Yellow Fever.
It's not.
It is. It's because you're like, what kind of crazy people?
No. That was a Riverview. This is a totally different scene. You're right about that scene, but that's not the scene I'm talking about.
It's all just.
I know. Look, man, 300 episodes.
God, I want to see what that is.
I just thought of another one. So the apartment that I live in Vancouver, there was a movie filming there. Some of you may have saw it. I don't know. Deadpool. And Ryan and Blake, the production had rented them an apartment in my same building. And I never did see Ryan because he was probably on set all the time, or I was on set all the time, whatever. But I did see Blake twice in the elevator, and it was just me and her child, and I'd be on and she'd get on, and like I've met her, I've like taken pictures with her. She was on the same network with us for years, but for some reason she gets on and I'm just like, don't make eye contact. Don't make eye contact. And she never said anything to me, and I never said anything to her. And
She probably thought you were a weirdo.
probably.
So
Which is probably the same thing Eric Clapton thinks now.
when he first told me the story, it was slightly different. He omitted something. He said, you know, he heard Ryan and Blake were in the same building, and he never saw Ryan. But when you told me the story, you said you never saw Ryan because the drone wouldn't go as high as his floor, or the blinds were always closed or something. I forget what you.
And I'm pretty good at flying that thing now.
Yeah, I had something the other day. I've had these things where people can't quite figure out, especially sometimes when I'm bearded or during off season or something. I can tell they're staring at me, but they don't know why, and finally give up on it. But Jen and I were on vacation with the kids over Thanksgiving break, and she's like, "Hey, let's go have a drink in the bar because we still have a nanny, and it's like 6 p.m. or something." And I was like, "Sweet, alone time because our nanny's watching the kids." And so I enter this like bar restaurant in Whistler, and I'm sort of looking around. I can't see her, and I see her finally, 50 feet that way, and there are 2 glasses of red wine, and she's facing the other direction, has on this cool stylish hat and like her little coat. And I walk up, and I'm like, "Hey, baby, sorry, it took me a second to get here." And as I look, it's not my wife. So my hands on her shoulders, I'm about to sit down, and she goes, "I don't know you." And as I turn around to look, I realized that Jen was like behind a post, and I walked right past Jen to come scratch some lady's shoulders. And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna go sit with my wife. My bad." And Jen's like sitting there looking at me like,
Was she sitting with anybody?
no, she was waiting for somebody, like everything. It was Jen's
Oh, it
clothes.
would have been so much better if she was like, "Oh, wow. You look way better than your profile picture."
Or worse.
Gosh, you don't look anything like your profile picture.
You put on some weight, I guess.
Liars.
Check, please. Mistaken identity. It was pretty embarrassing. But also,
What about the guy in the hotel last night? So Jared and I go and we checked in late last night because we flew in
Oh, yeah.
Vancouver. So we just go grab a bite to eat at the hotel. And as we're kind of walking out, there's a door guy there, like a bellman.
like 20.
Yeah, young kid, young good-looking kid, like 9 feet tall, and we walk up, and he's like, "Hey, you guys look just like those dudes from Supernatural." We're standing next to each other, and he's like,
He saw you first.
Yeah, he looks at me, he's
you look
like,
like,
"Oh, hey,
wait a
you look-
second, and you look like
"Hey,
that
you-
one. That's crazy."
"Has anybody ever told you guys you look like this guy from Supernatural?" And I didn't know. I'm like,
Is he checking with us? Are we getting punked?
because that's happened to me like by myself. Like, has anybody ever told you you look like that guy from Supernatural? And depending on how much of in a rush I am, I'll either be like, "It's me, yeah, how you doing? Nice to meet you," or I'll be like, "You know what? I've gotten that a lot of times, and I use it." But this, it's like so blatantly obvious. And he's like, "You guys, you look just like him." And finally, Jared's like, "It's because we are them."
And he's like,
And he goes, "No way! Oh man! My sister's gonna freak out!" And then he was like, "Okay." I think he wanted to ask for a picture, but he was like working and there were cameras, and he's like, "Okay, well, man, you guys really look like him." All right, buddy. Thanks a lot.
I've had some where they're like, "You look like the guy from Supernatural." And I'm like, "He sounds handsome." And they're like, The angel, you mean? Identity, funny thing. Thank you for your question.
Anyway.
Okay.
First of all,
She's got the lyrics.
Excuse me. I just need you to hold this. Don't use it, just hold it.
First of all, I want to thank you guys for all the
Thank you back.
Anyway, my question was, what's been your favorite moment from season 14 to film so far? Maybe not necessarily that has to do with the storyline, but just in regards to, you know, you guys, like, behind scenes.
That's a great question. There have been a lot of moments so far. I'll say this. This is kind of a strange answer because it hasn't yet happened, but my favorite moment that I've been looking forward to for a long time, we're going to film in 4 days. So even though it hasn't happened, I know it's going to be something that is going to be very, very special. So I'll go with that.
Well, you stole mine. So
all right.
I will. I'll say another one. Another one of my favorite things that we have filmed is a bar fight that will be coming up very soon. There you go. I mean, there's not a whole lot I can say about it without giving too much away. So there's a fairly epic bar fight that comes that's coming up. Is it the next?
No streams.
No, we won't spoil.
No. I'm just trying to figure out what episode it is.
I feel really bad for messing up your hair early. I just might joke on a ride.
We found that outside the parking lot, so I didn't like do that.
When Rob's not here, I really freak out, man. Oh, it's stuck. Crap.
Okay. Yeah, that's.
So coming up soon. Unfortunately, both of you haven't seen it yet.
That's creepy level expert there. That's
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Martha.